Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Streamline podcast. Special guest here today, my very good friend from New York City. Actually, no, not New York City, New Jersey, right?
New Jersey.
Yes, his name is Vianney Ausseil, and he has an extensive history in the music industry. We've been friends for a long time throughout various roles that he has done and always kept in touch. He's currently involved. His latest project is called LetMeHear.it, which I'll let Vianney tell you a little bit more about in just a second. Now, Vianney, firstly, welcome. Thank you very much for your time. I'm glad we got to get here. Could you tell us a little bit about your story and what got you to where you are today?
Sure. Well, thank you, Michael, first of all, for the intro. Good to talk to you. Glad we could actually do this. I know we've been meaning to do this for a minute. And I'm from New Jersey. I guess I started in the music industry, always been passionate for music. When I was younger, I used to sing at the New York City Opera. So that was just kind of my first, I guess, professional gig in the music industry, I could say. And then just tried to follow course, what was expected of me. Not just, or at least expectations that I thought that I should have had, ended up in business school. Not sure why. Did that for a year. And then now finished up at Rutgers Political Science. But while I was there, I was actually doing radio at a show called Shine Time Radio. And started reaching out to friends of mine who managed artists to see how I could help them out, getting records played on the radio or whatnot. Always lean more towards dance records, commercial records, big records. I guess, just coming from France, that's really more what the music's been. And so, started managing this act called IOU. Managed them for a few years, did some cool stuff, worked with some cool producers. And then, I guess, graduated college, and one of those things where you have to figure out life, right? Get a job, make money.
Adulting.
Yeah, right. But you're not ready to be adulting, And so I went back to what I was doing, political campaigns. So I was on the road in the U.S., still managing my acts on the side. Kind of just, I don't want to say something to fall back on, but just that was really, what I was building for myself. Some people do it 9 to 5s, but what's the future from doing a 9 to 5? And, music for me was just my art, what I was building. So, was managing them, and then end of 2012, so my last campaign, worked for Obama, amongst other the campaigns I did that year.
How'd that go?
Oh, no, I mean, we won. That year, I did 7 campaigns. I was in Detroit, Wisconsin, Virginia, did a few anyways, in New Jersey. And so when that ended 2012, I said, okay, that's it. I want to focus on music full time. And so I found a label, actually, that was not too far from my parents' house in New Jersey, Gummy Bear. Radical Records. And that's actually how you and I got introduced for, I think, a remix that you had done, or Phonetics. No, Phonetics. Was it Phonetics?
Phonetics, yes. Actually, a good friend, I Am Sam, connected us initially, I believe, around the time of WMC in Miami.
2013, 2014.
Yeah,
we're getting there, And
6 years.
Did that for 2 years, and that was great. Just worked with a lot of great artists, and just what's awesome about working for Radical Records is it's a label with history, especially in dance music. And Jürgen Kordulesh was the owner of that label. Really allowed me to just kind of do my own thing, and that from there, I felt empowered, to just be able to reach out and to know that I was backed, by the label and such. So I was there for 2 years, and then launched my own company, PR company. I saw demand for that, just kind of where the blogs were headed to, and just what was, and what was key really is what was expected from the press end to help get the New Music Fridays or the playlist on Spotify, because this was when Spotify was really picking up steam, more so than iTunes per se, the stream really. And so focusing on Hype Machine, whatnot, SoundCloud repost. And attracted the attention of Ultra Records. By the way, I talk a lot, so if you want to talk, stop me.
Keep going, man. This is going.
And I was with Ultra Records, so Ultra Records reached out. They hired me, so I was there for 2 years. Everything was great. It was an awesome experience. Ultra, they got a great setup. They got a great company, and I was there for 2 years. And then what was interesting is that my partner and I actually started our company 2 weeks before Ultra hired me, called LetMeHear.it. And originally we started the label because we found that we were making records, but no label wanted to put out our records. And so we found ourselves, in a position where we said, well, why not self-release? And this is when, I was using my experience, tapping into my experience on the record label end, the digital landscape, the Spotify playlist, right, the YouTube channels, the SoundCloud channels, just see who's making impacts and working with them or building a relationship with them to make things happen. So yeah, that's now I've been here. Let Me Hear It. Label's been around for three years now. Our whole thing is finding artists, very early. And I don't even like using the term finding artists, because it's meeting artists really very early, that have a lot of potential that other labels may not necessarily take on because it's very early, just really going off by ear and talent, and using our experience to just, develop that artist and make things happen for them. And it's based off of vision from point A to getting them to point Z, right? It requires a lot of work, patience, understanding that there may be days where things aren't so good. And, but, in those situations, maybe laughing at it and just kind of just looking at it in the bigger picture, this is the game we're in, right? It's the music industry. It's and so, yeah, man, how are you been, man? Talk to me about you, man. I'm here go rambling and, how's date night doing? What projects are you involved in? Tell me all, bro.
I got to say, that's the first time I've heard the story in its entirety. I've always heard little bits and pieces, so it was really nice to hear you tell it in your own words from where you began to where you are now. And it's funny, it's a really good point. Not everybody starts out knowing that they want to be in the music business or they want to be an artist. I mean, you said you were singing in the opera?
New York City Opera, yep.
And then you went from there into radio, and then you sort of now, you're not really out in the limelight. You're behind the scenes putting other artists out there and helping them. And what I love is the fact that you said, yes, you discover them, but then you're also helping to build them and grow and develop them. What I heard in there as well was I could tell that you're passionate about them, you care about them. So it's personal as well. You're actually becoming their friend. You want to make sure that they're healthy and happy while they're doing this, which is something that we really need to pay a lot more attention to in this industry. Is you've got to put your health first, because that's the one job in this industry or in any industry that you can't outsource to someone else. You can't just go, hey, go run laps for me right now, or go and put this food in my mouth. We have to do that ourselves. And sometimes we need somebody to educate us and look out for us. So sure. I just wanted to mention that. I think that's really important. And, not dodging your question about how I'm going as well. I know part of the reason I really wanted to get on this call is because you've got a lot of projects that you're working on right now, putting out music. Obviously, I put out music as well as an independent artist in a group called Date Night. So for the listeners, I was thinking that we could go over some of our strategies around this, such as, obviously, we'll talk about things like pitching to editorial. We'll talk about what happens if you don't get editorial, why you shouldn't just focus on editorial. And let's just get into it. The best conversations we have when we just get on the phone and we just start talking. So I'll kick it off. As far as you asked me about the most recent Date Night release. So we put out a track recently with our good friend Chris Robley, and the song is called True North. And it was the first track that we've done where we actually did Spotify's new direct upload tool. So in Spotify for Artists, you can go in there, you can upload your track directly. So we went in there and did that. And fortunately, we were able to use that new service. I know it's still in beta and it's only open for some US-based artists at this time, but I'm sure that'll change soon. Once we uploaded it, what I like is they prompt you about certain things that you may forget as part of the process. So when you go in, you have to do the submission at least 7 days prior for two reasons. The obvious one is you need to tag the song, mood, genre, instruments used, languages in the song, whether it's male, female vocalists, all that information that you can feed in there to make sure it gets to the right people in the editorial team. The other side of that they don't mention as much is that if you submit at least 7 days prior, it will go into release radar for all of your followers. Right. So it's actually guaranteed. And so Spotify actually sent an email reminder out about that saying, hey, you've uploaded your song, you've tagged it. You've got to go back and finish the submission at least 7 days before release. And that song will go into release radar for all of your followers. Flash forward to release day, we went into Release Radar. We have 20,000 followers at the time.
That's amazing. Yeah.
20,000 release radars, probably brought in between 5 to 10,000 unique streams, which is actually pretty good considering not everyone checks their release radar every week. So we were kind of expecting maybe a 10 to 20% listeners versus followers on release radar. Another thing that we got as part of the Spotify direct upload process was they gave us a marquee. Now, some people may not know what the marquee is. If you open the Spotify app on your phone or your tablet and you get a little pop-up that says, listen to the new album from Date Night, that is a marquee. And so as part of the process, we were able to use that as part of a new beta test, once again, that they were rolling out. So anyone that had directly uploaded their music to Spotify and the platform was able to also get a marquee. So we had that pop-up appear for a lot of our fans or followers as well. And in addition to that, we had uploaded photos in our Spotify for Artists profile. So Spotify also sent an email out because obviously they had a photo of us that they had permission to use. And they sent an email out to a number of followers of ours saying, your release radar is here. There's new music from Date Night in your release radar, and there's our photo. So I'll get into the editorial placements that we got shortly. But just off that was all the result of having a Spotify for Artists account, having a photo uploaded, and following the submission process. But that's not where it should end. And Vianney, I kind of want you to elaborate on, obviously submitting to editorial is important and don't ever forget to do that, but you shouldn't wholly rely on editorial support because it's not going to happen for every release. Even if you're a major artist, you're not going to get editorial support on every release. So could you tell us a little about part of your strategy when you put out a
Sure. To be honest with you, the strategy is no strategy. Whatever that means. Every record has its own path. Every record has its own slot, right? Wherever that playlist may be. You have some artists that have bigger followers, bigger following. You have small artists that have no followings, right? Debut releases or whatnot. It's figuring out how you can utilize, I guess, the algorithm, whatever the algorithm may be, because it's ever changing. And I know I'm constantly calling you and say, oh, I just observed this. Oh, have you been paying attention to that or whatnot? Figuring out what is it that the algorithm reacts to. It's so I'm always just paying attention to more momentum when I release a record. Obviously, everything that you were mentioning with regards to release radar and such is definitely things to tap into to help with that momentum, especially on day of release. But if you put out a record, right, and the record is doing 1,000 streams, 1.6 thousand streams a day off of solid Spotify playlist ads, non-editorial, you submit it. There's a bunch of sites online. You could just do some research yourself on Spotify and just kind of figure out, where your record fits or sort of sounds like, see where those where those tracks were added and reach out to those playlists. Right. So, I guess moral of the story, and to answer your question, right, just to take that, a step further, it's just marketing, right? It doesn't get any further than that. It's, you have a product. It's not that editorial is not necessary, doesn't want to help you or paying attention to you. It's we're playing a game in some capacity, right? And it's just like, okay, well, we're all playing this game. What do you got that's more than everybody else? And it's I say this, we're playing a game, and I don't mean to say it's a rat race, right? There's plenty of cheese for everyone, right? We don't need to buy, all be fighting for the same piece of cheese, right? Music is a universe that's ever expanding, right? People are constantly creating songs, whether we want to stop it or not, right? And then there's just some songs that connect more so than others, right? Which leads me to think of something else that I want to discuss with you with regards to perception versus business.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's really just you have a record and you got to push it, right? Just get it out, send it out to everyone, send it out to people. Even if it's a friend sharing it on their Facebook, right? Most people have, more than 1,000 friends on Facebook, right? Oh, yeah. Even, 10% of those people check your Facebook page, that's 100 people, I have people that, I'm constantly sharing records on my Facebook, whether they're on my own records or, there's music that I just found on SoundCloud or whatnot of artists that I like. I'll run into someone 4 years later and like I'll see that on their playlist, you know, or on their iPhone or whatnot, like a track that I had shared on my Facebook 4 years ago. And I'll call them, I'm not calling out, but I'll ask them like, hey, where did you find that record? I'll be like, oh yeah, I found it on your Facebook. Didn't like it, didn't comment, right? But it just comes to show you that people are paying attention, right? And even like emailing people, you know, sometimes it may feel hopeless, right? But even for me though, you know, sometimes someone will email me one time, I won't answer. The second time, you know, I'll be like, okay, they follow up, I'll open the email. And if they hit me up the third time, in some capacity, for one, it's not personal that I didn't get back to them, but I'll be obligated to at least check it out. Right. And sometimes, you know, it's not bad. I mean, that's why I'm here. You could probably say the same, but persistence. I mean, you know, you and I have been trying to talk to each other for Lord knows how long. You know what I'm saying? Of like, how can we help each other or whatnot? You know, we're both very busy. You know, I know you're traveling the world, going to conferences or whatnot. I'm, you know, so yeah, catch us if you can. But anyways.
No, I hear exactly what you're saying. And, you know, it kind of, I was trying to think of a way to describe it. And it reminds me of when you're in the car and you drive past a billboard. You drive past the same billboard 10 times that week.
Yeah.
You may not realize, but it's in your head. You're going to see that product on the shelf. You're going to hear about it from someone else. And you're going to go, you know, I feel like I know that.
Sure.
And it's the same with this. You keep putting that music out there. People see the name. Eventually, they're going to go, you know what? I need to know what this is about.
Right.
I've seen it in my Facebook feed by 10 different people. Vianney posted about it, and he's usually pretty much spot on. So that's important. And the other part of it is it's a long-term strategy with all of these releases. Nobody is expecting to be added to, you know, 1 million playlists overnight. Oh, that's a little extreme. 100 playlists overnight. It doesn't happen. You may get added to 100 playlists in the lifetime of that song. It could take 2 years before the algorithms really start to pick it up. And then you're on Discover Weekly, you're on My Daily Mix, and you start going back into the feed, the stream counts go up, and then you hit an editorial playlist as a result. So, you know, that's why it's important to be consistent as well and keep pumping out the tracks as well. So, you know, as far as with Let Me Hear, how many releases are you sort of encouraging from your artists?
The setup with Let Me Hear It, it's weird. Well, it's not weird. It's more of a quality versus quantity, but we do like quantity. We do like volume. I don't like waiting 6 to 7 months before putting out a song. If you could put out a song every month, all for it. Let's do it. I encourage it. It's, you know, how we treat every record, though, is not the same, right? We have some records that need a little more push than others. I guess I see some genres react better, for example, on Spotify than others in terms of Discover Weekly support. Let Me Hear It. We're, you know, because we're looking for artists that don't necessarily have followers or whatnot. Well, let me introduce it like this. We're a small label. We're a very, very small label, right? I don't have the infrastructure like other, you know, labels that I won't name, but, you know, who have infrastructure to begin with. What we do have, though, is, you know, my experience and my knowledge, you know, and my relationships and my ear, you know, which is something that I have the most trust on. So just to you know, and Let Me Hear It, you know, we're a small label. So, you know, we have to operate like our small label, which is a strength. You know, we have to be aware as well that we can't compete necessarily with bigger labels, right? And who may have bigger budgets, just better relationships, right? So, you know, we're not afraid to take chances, but these are calculated. It's, you know, I wouldn't even call them risks because the music is too good that, you know, we'll make it work, right? And we'll figure it out. You know, we'll get creative. You know, does it mean working with, you know, a Spotify plugger? Maybe. Or, you know, does it mean, you know, working with someone that has relationships with YouTube? Maybe. Does it mean bringing on a publicist? Sure, why not? If it's something that, you know, we know that would take the project to that next level. It's that's how we move as Let Me Hear It. It's and it just allows us to make moves. It's very micro targeting as well, right? Just it's so far so good. You know, we have 40 records on the catalog. That doesn't include records that we've licensed out. You know, we've done, I want to say 15 million Spotify and Apple streams cumulative, if not more, from those 40 records, which for an indie, you know, we feel good about.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
You know, we're in a position where, you know, we try to invest little to no budget into releases. And the intentions of that is not to hold back the artists. Is for one, we could cover a lot in-house, whether it be press, digital marketing or whatnot. But at the same time, you know, I set up this company as well. Well, what I saw from setting up this company is that, you know, it's good to pay out the artists twice a year, and for them to see money from their music, it feels really good.
See money, period.
To see, yeah.
It's unique for an independent artist.
It's amazing. It's a great feeling. Yeah,
it could be $10, and it's
amazing. Absolutely. And it's, and I've seen that, and that's why, I keep the model the way it is, because again, my setup is, to make money for the artist. I know you were mentioning earlier with regards to checking in the artist, seeing how they're doing. For me, we could even tie this into, the mental health issue within the music industry. I think a lot of it is tied to money, to be fully transparent. I think a lot of us are living paycheck to paycheck, to keep it real. And so, especially those that are freelancing, and it can affect the mental, right? But at the end of the day, it's the music industry. Nothing is promised, right? But if you keep a positive outlook, things usually work out, especially if you've made it this far, it's, it's impressive, to be independent in this music industry, and to be able to, sustain and, live the lifestyle that you want to live in some capacity, Yeah,
that's it. And I mean, there's a lot of sacrifices as well. I mean, obviously money is part of it, but, people will sacrifice going out on Friday nights with their friends to stay home and work on music. I'm sure you're the same as me. I've spent many a nights at home on a Saturday night, trying to find new curators to reach out to get that music out and research. And so the investment doesn't always have to be money; it can be time. But yeah, it's there are a lot of sacrifices that we make in this industry, and you're not alone. When you're sitting there at home on a Saturday night and you feel like you're the only person in the world, you go online, you're going to see there's a bunch of other people who are up at those stupid hours of the night, and they've been listening to the same kick drum for 5 hours straight.
Right.
And you start to realize I'm not alone in this. There's other people out there with similar dreams, and my advice is not necessarily you have to collaborate with other people, but at least just start communicating and checking in on each other. I mean, I know we do it as well. I mean, pitching music can become quite heartless at times, and that's no disrespect to the people that we're pitching to. It's just when the person on the other end gets 400 emails per day, it's hard to know who's actually being sincere and who actually cares about the person that's opening it. So, everyone just needs to sort of step back and realize we're all real people. We've sacrificed a lot to be in this industry. I mean, I can't speak for you, but I know that you've worked in full-time jobs and you were doing this and building it on the side. And it's not easy, because the temptation to just go and sit there and watch Netflix and eat a bag of potato chips and, have a snack or whatever you do, or if you're a fitness junkie, go and work out every night. You have to make some small sacrifices there to get that time to, really master your craft. So I think whether you're an artist or in the music biz, we're all in this together.
And I mean, it's just bigger than the music industry at the same time. I think anyone that has a job that's demanding, is going, is affected by the same things that we are within our industry. I think that's just the reality of it, highs and lows. And I think especially in our industry, there's some, the highs are so high, right? When you get a big cut, or, you get added to a master, big playlist. I mean, I don't know what to do with myself when I get added to a big playlist, editorial Spotify playlist. You know what I mean? It's like, you kind of want to look at everybody around you, like, yo, I just got added to this playlist. It's exciting, it's very exciting, and then you put out a record and nothing, right? So it's just like, wow, where did I mess up? Right. But no, you didn't mess up. No, not at all. It's just, get to work, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it's, nothing came free. And nothing comes easy. Sacrifices are temporary. That's the way I look at it, right? As you say, right? Time on the road. I can only imagine. I mean, I know for me, just being away from my family for 4 days, is a long time, right? But it's always so worth it. The productivity of flying out, let's say, to meet with people and such. So I can definitely sympathize with that. But I think, but again, it's just all about positive outlook, and it's no different than going into a release. Be confident, stand behind your product, right? Mm-hmm. It's if you made it, and you wanted to release it, I would assume that you think it's good and that you like it, right? And so, play your own record on repeat and make sure it's on Apple Music, so that the payout is higher, or it's on Spotify as well, have both apps running, it's your song. It's, and it's, you can do that. And that's the beauty of streaming. And every stream is worth the payout. So, and you're helping yourself as well for the stream versus listener, ratio. So, and like you said, I'm very passionate about what I do. I mean, we're doing this, we're because we are passionate about what we do. And, it's I know I was mentioning earlier about money, but at the end of the day, it's so much bigger than money for me. It's my livelihood. And I tell a lot of people this, I don't know about you, but I plan to live till I'm 100. And that's, I got 70 more years to go. Well, 69 more years to go now. And, and that's a long time, so I hope I can, I hope I can make a real living real living. I already am, but I'm saying I hope I can make a living for the next 69 years of my life off this music. Right. And, maybe retire when I'm 80. Right. So it's like, I got 50 years to do something cool, so we got this.
Definitely. And I have no doubt that you're going to keep excelling and, helping more artists along the way. And it's interesting mentioning retiring at 80. I look at it and I go, I love what I do. I don't want to stop doing this. There may be a point where I have to cut back a little. Sure.
Wife might be like, okay, Michael, like I want some time with you. Yeah,
exactly. Or you know what? I can't type as fast as I used to with these emails. But yeah, it's funny. The goal used to always be, retire at 65 and then start living. And I go, no,
you can't stop this
living
music
now.
Your ears, unless you go deaf, and you can't hear anymore. There's right. No, I relate.
That's
funny.
So, enjoy this time right now. That's why, Tim Ferriss talks about taking mini vacations where if you're in a position to do so, go and take 4 to 6 weeks off every year. Every year.
Yeah.
Go away and treat that as retirement and then come back because you actually, yes, you enjoy it, but you come back and you go, I'm so ready to get back to do something again.
I'm going to say something controversial. I'll be very, very honest with you. Yeah, no. See, this 4 to 6 week break for me within the music industry is a luxury. I'll be very honest with you. Yeah. Reason why I say this is, and I see this all the time with the labels or whatnot, it's, and I think you're right. People do, if you work for it, you've earned your vacation. But at the same time, it does not mean that there's someone on the other end not sending an email following up on their release, right? And it's, that's why part of me, I feel guilty, for example, when I can't move as quickly as I'm used to, for example, because someone's on vacation. So, take your vacation, you've earned it, but keep in mind, if you get back to that email, it'd be great just because it's not because you need a mental recharge that someone else, isn't going crazy while you're getting your mental recharge. You get what I'm saying? Waiting for you, and it's past that deadline, it's a reality. And I think, which I see, why I like my setup, for example, for the indie label setup. And, you may see it as well for self-releasing is, you're in control, you're in full control of, so you're not waiting for someone, who's on vacation to get back to you per se. You need something done, you get it done yourself. Unless your engineers, is on vacation and you can't get the stems or the mix or whatnot. But it's one of the perks of having an indie label.
Absolutely.
Self-releasing. Yeah.
You are in control, but at the same time, I find personally when I'm sitting there, I'm always at work whenever I have my phone in my pocket.
Yeah.
And so, this whole talk of a 4 to 6 week vacation, it's not realistic for me at this time, at least. To be honest, I would prefer to take smaller vacations. I like the sort of 1 week away and then come back and get into it because in a week, not too much can happen. You can set an email auto reply. You can give people a heads up. You can do some stuff in advance of being away. And it's not that hard to have somebody and go, look, can you just keep an eye on things for me here?
Sure.
If there's an email that needs my attention, forward it to this separate email address, which I will check. But as for all the other emails, I'm going to get back when I'm at my desk and I have the time so that I can give people the time they deserve in my response.
What I've been embracing, and I think people, the listeners or the viewers can actually take note of this is weekends. Weekends are great. I'll always get, emails on a Saturday or on a Sunday or a Monday morning, like, hey, anything happening, and then my answer to always to them is, guys, it's Saturday, whatever time it is, like nothing is happening. People are off on weekends. That's just the reality. So, take the time off as well, and I think that's maybe one of the things that come with releasing on Fridays is that you release on Friday and then there is a 2-day break, I guess you would call it, which we call the weekend. And it's, so it can throw a lot of artists off, especially if, for newer artists who, you may not see 20 blocks cover him within the first days or second day or third day for that matter, or even the fourth day. It's which, comes back to momentum. But again, it's the weekend is great. Take the 2 days off, even if you're, obviously keep an eye on things, and take the time maybe to check in with Mike Warner to get all the tips, or to call me or send me an email or grab a coffee, go grab some drinks with some people, whatnot. It's, but yeah, for people who are in this industry, know that weekends, chances are nothing's happening. So, it's,
and look, I mean, the one of the most
on Tuesdays with people, sorry,
exactly.
when, if you sent an email on Friday or Thursday. Yeah,
exactly. And, arguably, one of the most exciting things that can happen for an artist is to get added to a major playlist. You don't need to go and manually check them and spend hours doing it. There's services out there where you can get an email. So Saturday morning, check your email. Spotify add you to an editorial playlist. They email you and tell you within 24 hours. So go enjoy your weekend. You may get some great news while you're enjoying your weekend. Bonus.
Sure.
Whatever you're doing, you might just have a big smile. You might have a bigger smile on your face as a result. You don't need to be sitting there at home, biting your nails or any other disgusting habit you have. No. Refreshing Spotify, refreshing Apple Music, checking. There's services out there, Spot on Track, Chartmetric, numerous services that will tell you when you've been added. So you can just go and relax.
If your distributor, and even, it just gets as simple as this. If the distributor was able to get your track up on the day that you schedule of the release and tagged all the right artists to the right artist profile, you've already won. Your track is up on stores. You're good. Now you can start selling. If you want to take 2 days off, that's fine. Take those to Saturday and Sunday and start pushing it hard on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, getting your emails out. You can even start on Friday getting emails out. But, again, if the track is up, you should feel like it's a win. Everything then, you can worry about it later kind of thing.
Exactly.
So, just keep it in 100, yeah.
And I mean, the reality is a track may look like it came out overnight. It didn't. It would have been at least a 4 to 6 week lead time, at least, where the artwork's done, the final masters are in.
Sure.
Your
paperwork signed. It's
exactly. You're getting it to the distributor, and the list goes on. And then, of course, the pitching. Some editorial teams want the track at least 4 weeks before it's live. So a lot of the work is done before the track comes out. That's why you and I, we're saying you can actually enjoy the weekend because the track's out. You're like, yes, you're done. And then, of course, Monday, you're not done. You go back.
Get back to it.
Start working it again. But, you've also, what you've done is you've given everyone else a break on the weekend as well, which I respect you for because I don't know many people that like being hit up.
Well, this is the thing. There's a rhythm. There's a rhythm to this industry. And I this is what I've learned being a publicist, and working in PR. And maybe you might see the same, right? But it's just knowing when to approach people at the right time, right? Monday morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, wanting something from someone, it's a bit aggressive, at least in my opinion. Present it to them later on in the afternoon, right? And start with, hey, how are you? And more of a check-in, and may not even pitch just then and there, because you may find yourself having a conversation with that person. Now, is it right of you, to then hit him, hey, can you premiere this? You could if you wanted to, but maybe you wait the following day and, send him an email with, and say, hey, would you want to do a premiere? There's an art to it and there's a rhythm to it. Again, it's checking in with someone every 2 hours, for something is a lot. And that's what brings the pressure and the anxiety and the stress that wouldn't be necessary if everyone understood the way that things are, people have lives, right? Like if you tell me you'll add my track, right? And you haven't yet, but you said you would, I'm not going to contact you in 30 minutes and say, hey, Mike, did you add my track, right? I would probably, not even bother you. That's more my style, but, maybe I'd wait 2-3 days, be like, hey, Mike, just checking in, nudging you, have you had a chance to add if you hadn't added? But it's okay. That's
a friendly reminder.
Sure.
More than welcome. Another thing, just adding on to what you mentioned, is a lot of the conversations between, me and you even, I'll message you and just go, hey mate, how was your weekend? And we have a chat. And within a few messages, you'll say, got any new music for me?
Yeah.
And you've given me the opportunity. I don't even need to ask. I mean, you know
what we're up to.
Exactly. You know that you just spoke to me yesterday. Why am I coming to you on a Monday now? And it's totally fine. It's welcome because you were able to choose when you wanted to hear from me. And so you could have just said, mate, I've had a crazy day. I'm not feeling the greatest. I'm actually just about to go back into bed. And I will feel so good to know that I didn't just hit you with a pitch.
Right. Yeah, no, you're a person. You're spot on. You're spot on. But and that's why it's important, it's the friendships and relationships that I've made in this industry that, and it's crazy because it's the people that I expect the less from. And they do big things, and they have their own influence, and they do look out for me. I'm going to, but at the same time, it's, all I expect from them is to be healthy, happy, to be real with themselves, and to be real with me, and help me out the best way they can, the same way that, I can help them out. It's interesting because I approach all my meetings, and it's not to make this whole TED talk or whatnot, but I approach all my meetings with less what I could do for people, but more what I could do for people. I mean, less what people could do for me, but more what I could do for people. My business partner, Jamie Harper, would laugh. I've been in meetings with some rather big people, and they're like, all right, well, what can we do for you guys? And, my answers were like, well, more what we could do for you, and it's a lot of people, respect that, it just shows that it's like, okay, this guy's not, it's, let's see what he has to, what it is that he could potentially help us with, and then I'm able to just go ahead and present, things that I'm a part of, that I'm involved with, and start just kind of putting, pieces together to make things happen for people. It's, and by the way, a lot of this is train of thought, but it's, and thank you, Mike, again, for giving me the platform for this, but it's man, train of thought just got cut. Anyways, thank you for giving me the platform for this. It's it's a good industry to be in.
That's it. And you know what? I feel like we could honestly talk all day, and
sure.
There's been a few occasions where we have. But for the sake of the listeners who are probably sitting in their car, they've pulled up front of their house, we may start to wrap this up right now. Obviously, there's a lot of tips and a lot of little pieces of gold that we've shared in this. You can see how both of us work, myself as an independent artist doing the pitching, and yourself working with numerous artists and pitching them and coaching them and keeping them happy and healthy along the way.
Sure.
Are there any sort of tips that you'd like to share with the listeners as well?
Look, the best tip that I can give to someone is, and a lot of this recently, it's been a very introspective moment for me, just launching the label and just being accountable for my artists and, responsible for their music and, and their releases, is just stand behind your product. If you believe in it, just stand behind it. Know your value, stand behind your services. Just really, even if you're a publicist and some releases, do better than others, or if you're a label and some releases do worse than others, just keep going, focus on the positives. A playlist ad is a win. A blog post is a win. A SoundCloud repost is a win. Just count your W's and be patient. Stay consistent. I know we talked about this earlier. But yeah, most importantly, just believe in your product. That's, because then from that is everything grows from it. That's really the seed of it all is your product, and grow your roots and just, watch it blossom into a full tree and, get some nice fruits from it. So trees don't grow overnight though, especially not the bigger trees, so that's what it is.
That's it. I love it. And
someone turn this microphone off. You know what I mean? I'm talking too much. Oh my God. Yeah.
No,
that's for the teaser. That's for the teaser. That's for the trailer. You know what I mean? Like,
definitely. Well, Vianney, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, man. Yeah.
It's funny. We've been friends at least 6 years now, as we just worked out before. We've never actually met face to face.
No, not yet.
And here we are today. We're on camera. We've got the microphones up, and we're unfiltered, uncensored, raw and uncut. We still kept it pretty clean though, which is good.
Yeah.
And, I look forward to being your friend for a very long time.
Likewise.
And I do hope that one day when we're 80 years old and finally ready to retire, we have even more great stories to share.
Oh, yeah.
And who knows what the music industry will be then. It may be embedded into our ears, and music will just play based on what we're doing at that moment. So music will control us. Who knows?
Remember in 2019 when we had Spotify? Like, oh yeah, like what's a Spotify, Grandpa? Like, yeah, can't even explain it. Exactly. Amazing.
Well, Vianney, lastly, where can people find you online, or where can they find music from Let Me Hear It?
So you can go on my website, www.LetMeHear.it. It's linked directly to our Spotify playlist. And you can email me if you want to get in contact, Vianney, Vianney, at LetMeHear.it. Questions, comments, records you'd like me to check out, definitely send that over, reach out, all good. Find me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm really not that hard of a person to find or to reach out to. I usually read all my emails. It's, I'm not going to pretend like I get 100 emails a day, It's, but anyways, yeah, you could reach out to me, definitely.
Definitely. And for those of you listening, make sure that you do. Make sure you check out his profile on Spotify as well. He's got some great curated playlists on there. Obviously take the advice from this and don't go giving him a cold pitch just because he gave you his email address. Reach out to him. Say hi. Get to know the guy. He's a really nice guy, and you never know. He could be your new best friend.
Sure. And hit up Mike too, because Mike is definitely your new best friend. Mike is the guy. Mike, again, thank you so much for thank you so much. I haven't done live radio in a long time. Very comfortable in front of it. So I hope we could do this again. And but again, thank you so much.
Vianney Ausseil from Let Me Hear It, thank you so much. Thank you for being on the show and for sharing your wisdom. And once again, I look forward to being friends for a very long time and enjoying retirement when we're in our 80s. Maybe not in the same place, but we'll be in touch one way or the other.
You come to my place, I come to your place. We'll figure it out.
Have your people call my people.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you, Vianney.
Cheers, man.